Hello and welcome to Career Spotlight with Vanessa Idemudia. Today, I'm really happy to introduce my guest, Vanessa Idemudia, who is also a nurse. I first met Vanessa in secondary school and we were in the same class, and the rest is history. We've been friends ever since. So Vanessa is going to share her career journey and everything nursing related. So without much ado, I'm going to introduce Vanessa. Hello, Vanessa.
Hi, Vanessa.
Thank you so much for coming.
I'm glad to come and be the first person.
Yeah, although you are Vanessa number 2.
No, Vanessa number 1. Don't start this. Just don't start this.
This is something that we've always had, debating who's the first Vanessa, but obviously it's me.
I'll allow you today.
So, let's start from where it all began.
Yeah.
In secondary school. Do you remember what choices you made for GCSE?
Gosh, it's a long time. Oh my gosh, it makes me sad. I feel like I'm getting older. Choices in secondary school. I think I was initially picking subjects that were going to be related to what I eventually did, which was working in the healthcare sector. So I was looking at GCSE. Oh gosh, I might have picked like English, but I think some were mandatory, like English, maths, science was mandatory, and I think I did art as well. I think our options at that time were kind of just like general, which I do advise as well. So if you're especially if you're not sure about what you want to do in the future, especially in secondary school, it's advisable, or my recommendation anyway, is pick general subjects that can be transferred into any subjects you want to further do in A-levels. So I think I just did the general. I don't think I did anything out of the ordinary. I did art because I liked art. What else did I do? Oh, it's been a while. But the maths, English, science, IT, textiles, I think. Yeah, so.
Okay, and what were your A-level choices?
A-level choices, that's when I started to take more consideration. So I picked English literature because I loved it. And then I picked sociology, psychology, and health and social care. But when I got to my final year of sixth form, I removed psychology and then just the sociology, health and social care, and English literature.
Okay, nice. And what did you study at uni?
So in uni, I studied adult nursing. That's what I did. Initially, I wanted to do another course, but it ended up being adult nursing.
Cool. And how did you find that experience?
I enjoyed the uni experience. The course itself, I won't lie, it's not for the faint-hearted. You're either all in or you're all out. You cannot, you cannot have one leg out. It did test me a lot of times. It was challenging, rewarding, but fulfilling at the same time.
Okay, that's good. And what was the reasons or motivation for why you picked that to study at uni?
The funny thing is, I actually didn't even want to do nursing. It was midwifery that I wanted to do.
Really?
I had a fascination with babies. Oh my gosh, I love babies. And I was always watching like One Born Every Minute. So in my mind, I was like, well, no brainer. Let me go and study midwifery. Speaking to my mom, she now kind of advised me on, looking more into adult nursing, getting more general idea, because that gives you more opportunities to do more in different fields, such as, midwifery, mental health, it gives you more of a range. So that was kind of how I ended up doing adult nursing, with the, hopes of later furthering on and doing, midwifery, but that never happened. It seemed like I was more called to do nursing.
Okay. So was there a certain point in time when you knew that you no longer were interested in midwifery and your preference was for within nursing?
Yeah, because when I was actually doing, well, if I'm going to keep it real, I was tired of studying. That was one. I was like, no, by the time I finished 3 years, I was like, yeah, I'm done with studying.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back. I just
Yeah.
want to work and get money.
Yeah.
And another thing as well, I think with working in the field, it gave me more of a reality into what midwifery actually entails.
Okay.
So whereas I thought it's you looking after babies all day, actually you're not. You're actually looking after the mother. So that was kind of like a downer for me. And I was just like, well, that was not what I was thinking. So nursing was it for me.
Okay, great. And so once you finished uni, what were the next steps that you took?
So finished uni, and what I needed to do was to basically register myself on. We have like a online register that every nurse has to put themselves on.
Okay.
And it's called the Nursing and Midwifery Council.
Yeah.
So without that, you can't actually legally work as a nurse in this country.
Okay.
So I had to get that all set up. You have to pay an annual fee.
Yeah.
And basically wait for that. So in the meantime, I was working in some like care homes as like a healthcare assistant, just to like make ends meet at that time because I already moved back home.
Yeah.
And I need to start making money. So I was doing that. I actually already had a job already prepared for me.
Oh, okay.
When I finished university. So by the end of university, I started applying for jobs and I got a job already waiting for me with a start date. So that was kind of all in like preparation of, waiting for the PIN, should I say, PIN number or my registration to be cleared.
Okay.
So that was it.
So then once the registration was cleared and then you'd finished the role that you were doing within care, what did you do after that?
So basically started as a nurse.
Okay.
So they call us the newly qualified nurses.
Yeah.
So started working on a ward. I was working in a neuro ward, dealing with like brain and spinal injuries.
Okay.
So working there. And when you start as a newly qualified, they put you on a course. It's called a preceptorship course.
Okay.
So it kind of helps navigate your like first years of like integrating as a fully qualified nurse.
Cool.
So
And what skills did you pick up?
Loads
within nursing.
Loads. Especially with the first job.
Yeah.
By the end of that experience, that time, the leadership skills, I was managing teams, communicating with different healthcare professionals, learning about time management, knowing what to do in certain situations, knowing how to deal with peers, knowing how to deal with your colleagues, learning how to de-escalate, dealing with conflict, and also ensuring that good standards are maintained. So that was by the end of it, because when I first started, I was a quiet, shy girl that never used to talk. But then by the end of, that experience working on the ward, I had loads, which I was happy about.
So based on that, then you'd say that nursing really helped you to develop some core skills.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100% that I even use now.
Okay.
Like looking back, I would have never thought Quiet Vanessa would be a type of Vanessa now that can even talk.
Yeah.
I was always somebody that probably like wanted to be behind the scenes. Let me do it, but don't put me in the forefront where I might feel uncomfortable.
Okay.
So it's definitely helped me, get to that stage where, it's good to not be complacent and to be too comfortable. We need to like look out and do more.
Yeah.
And that's helped me even in my own personal life, because it's made me not limit myself into things I can do.
That's good.
Yeah.
So now you're working within the ward and you've gained some experience, you've gained some core skills. What did you do next?
So after the ward experience was done, I kind of said to myself, I'm tired of looking after patients one-to-one.
Okay.
I needed something that would be more challenging, something that would kind of give me more of a social life as well. Because I felt like working on the ward and doing shift work was kind of having an effect on my own social life and my mental. So I just thought to myself, you know what, the next step is to look for a job that's, you know, different, you know, still nursing, but, you know, it still gives me that break where I can have that consistency, work-life balance. So I ended up working in another hospital as a complex discharge coordinator.
Okay.
So I was basically dealing with discharges from a nursing perspective.
Okay. And how was that transition from the ward to become a complex discharge coordinator?
Oh, a big one.
Okay.
A big one. I feel like when you're working on a ward, it's kind of like very niche, kind of close-knit, and that's about all you know.
Yeah.
But working as a complex discharge coordinator, you're kind of exposed to everything, all specialities, all different types of patients, different professionals. So that was a big getting used to. Another thing as well was the work hours as well. It wasn't shift work anymore. It wasn't day shifts, night shifts. It's literally Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So you know, that was interesting, you know, especially, you know, finishing work at 5, and, you know, you're seeing everybody else finish work at 5. It seems like all of a sudden everybody's on the same timetable as you. You know, everybody's going to work at the same time. You know, it made me feel like, oh yeah, like I can be a nurse and I can still be professional. I can still do like corporate in a way. Yeah. So I loved it. I love the transition.
That's good. And how did you find out about the complex discharge coordinator role?
If I wanted to be completely honest, I didn't.
Okay.
I think at that time, I just needed to look for any job that was going to be 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Okay. Yeah. And this happened to be, and thank God, you know, it was what I kind of needed to expose me to, you know, even more things that I can do. Okay. So, that was kind of what I was looking at anything community-based, anything that would basically be away from looking after patients on a ward. Okay.
Yeah. And what did that role consist of? Like, what would the average day look like?
Meetings. Okay. Meetings upon meetings. Yeah. Dealing with, you know, the managers of wards, dealing with the nurses in charges of wards. Okay. You're dealing with matrons. Yeah. You're dealing with different other healthcare professionals, because what we're trying to do is facilitate safe discharges. Okay. So basically, go to the meetings, understand the patients that are highlighted for discharge, and what can we do to make sure that they are safely discharged. That was basically on a day-to-day.
And what kind of skills do you need to be able to do well in that role?
Well, I would say communication skills, you know, thinking on your feet, time management, because at the end of the day, like, we need to make sure that these patients are safely discharged. Yeah. You know, building a rapport with people, knowing how to de-escalate situations, because there might be a lot of time that there might be conflict, you know. Like listening, you know, just the general, having the IT skills, you know, being able to know how to type up, you know, document when required. Yeah. And working as a team.
Would you say you need to be able to work under pressure as well?
Oh, yeah. Because the big shock was that rather than looking after a patient and knowing a patient by their name, this is kind of like now you're dealing with numbers. Yeah. So the sad reality is, everybody's a number, and there are targets, you know, because at the end of the day, we need to formulate reports to, you know, to help us improve on the standard. Yeah. So unfortunately, when we're documenting or when we're, you know, reporting, it's all numerical, and they're all a person, a human being, but it's kind of what we need to do in order, you know, to, you know, improve on the service.
Yeah, sure. And so after you finished that role, what did you do next?
So I did that for about a year, and then I now went into the CCG. Okay. So that stands for Clinical Commission Group. It has changed the name now. I think it's called ICB.
Okay.
So I moved there and worked as a CHC nurse assessor. So that's a continuing healthcare nurse assessor. It's a big mouthful, but yeah.
And what is that? Because someone might be wondering. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, a lot of people, even loads of nurses, they'd be like, "What's that? Like, is that still nursing?" I'm like, it's still her.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because, you know, loads of nurses, I feel like, are in this position where they kind of want to branch out, but they don't even know where to start from.
Okay. Yeah.
I was fortunate to push myself and, you know, get to this position.
Yeah.
What it is in a nutshell is basically we assess patients to see if they're going to be eligible for full NHS funding.
Okay.
I know everybody is entitled to free NHS, but it's only at a point of delivery. There are, like, for me and you, there's certain things that we will still pay for example, our prescriptions on our medications, our dentist bills, etc. So patients that are entitled to full NHS funding, we basically have to assess them and basically justify why they are entitled to that full funding.
Okay. That's interesting. And so, whereas with the discharge role, you kind of fell into it. With this one, was it more intentional, or how did you come about finding that?
100%, because of the line of work I was doing as a complex discharge coordinator. We dealt with the CCG.
Oh, okay.
So most of the patients that probably came into hospital and were returning back under these, you know, type of fundings. So we definitely were relating with the CCG, to, you know, communicate with them because they need updates on how their patients are doing. You know, if they've gone into hospital and there's been a change, they need that update to, you know, provide additional support if need be. So I kind of was very intrigued about that area. I was like, what is the CCG like? I need to know who these people are. I need to know. So with that, I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm going there. So I literally just started applying.
So you pretty much gained exposure to the people in the role.
100%.
And then during that, that increased your interest to explore more.
100%.
And how was the application process like from transitioning from your previous role to that?
For me, it was very straightforward. I've always ever applied on NHS jobs. So that was not familiar to me. So it was just a matter of applying. The only thing I was considering was wherever I'm going to pick, it needs to be close to home. So whereas where I was working in the ward, I worked very far away from home. And for me, I thought that was normal. And, you know, like I was talking about before, like I needed a work-life balance. So, you know, also considering the fact that I didn't want to do long shifts, I was also considering being closer to home so that I'm not having to do these crazy journeys all the time. So, I basically just applied and, you know, just did my search, had my keywords in the search engine, and that's how I was able to find the jobs.
And so what does the average day look like with your current role as a CHC assessor? So
average day, work from home now. And, you know, still meetings upon meetings. And we basically get allocated patients we need to go and assess. So we can go out, we can do it physically, or, you know, due to COVID, sometimes we'll actually have to have it over Teams meetings. So it's just basically doing those assessments, doing them in a timely manner, getting them right up, and then getting them sent out and validated.
And what qualifications or what are the requirements for that role?
CAC? I wouldn't say there is like, well, the general one is, you have to be a nurse. So you have to be a registered nurse. That's one. In terms of working in CHC, they do like if you have some exposure. If you know about it fully, perfect. If you have some exposure and you're willing to learn, that's fine. Like we do have like colleagues like myself, like that never had worked in that type of area before.
Yeah.
But we had some exposure, and that's how I was able to get that job.
Okay. And of course, you've been through like a journey in going through various roles from the ward to the discharge before arriving at this current role. What if someone's watching and they'd like to go straight into the CHC assessor role? Would that be possible from a fresh graduate?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, I won't say it's not possible.
Okay.
I've never seen.
Okay.
Because at the same time as well, we do, our roles are graded as well.
Yeah.
So it's graded in bands.
Yeah.
So the higher the band you are, the higher senior you are, it also reflects on your pay.
Yeah.
So, as a newly qualified, personally, I wouldn't advise, but if you are very certain you want to do it, there's no harm in trying.
Okay.
It is a different ball game. So the general, should I say, what did they say? Silent standard is that, you work on the ward for at least a year, get that, confidence, with working with patients before you want to start, going out and looking at something else. But I wouldn't say it's not possible.
Okay, so based on that, then you'd say that the experience and the skills that you picked up from day to day on the ward definitely impacts and
100%
supports your ability to perform
100%.
that role now. Then,
because at the stage where I am now,
you
need to learn how to work autonomously. So you need to learn how to, manage on your own.
Yeah.
Know how to do as much as you can on your own before you get to that point where you need to escalate.
Yeah.
So they need to see that in you. They need to see you being proactive.
Okay.
A newly qualified will probably struggle.
Okay.
Probably. Because it's not so much going to be a handheld thing compared to if you're working on the ward and doing the whole, integration into nursing.
Okay. And aside from an adult nursing degree, are there other routes or options to be able to, for example, get onto the ward or become a coordinator, etc.?
What, to become a nurse or to just, do, because we do have the nurses who basically went to university, got their degree and are working. Yeah. But then we also work with other professionals who might have not gone to university.
Okay.
So we have healthcare assistants.
Okay.
We have patient flow coordinators.
Yeah.
They are not qualified, but they can also work.
Okay.
And do almost the same role. They're more or less like an assistant in a way and still helping out in their own capacity. Okay. So, yeah.
So how about aside from not the healthcare assistants, so the supporting roles, but an actual nurse to become qualified?
To become qualified?
Yeah.
Well, they are doing, I know, during the time I was studying, they started introducing these new roles. They're called TNAs. So they are called nursing associates.
Okay.
So they're kind of like a new role that kind of is in between a healthcare assistant and a nurse. Okay. So they're a new role in between. Okay. And what they kind of do is they can almost do everything like a nurse. Yeah. But then they can't do all things. Okay. So they can still have their own patients. They can still give some medication. Yeah. But they can't do some official stuff like what a nurse would do. Okay. I know in situations like that, it's a course. Yeah. Like a 1 year or 2 year course. Yeah. And some, if they choose that they want to further on and be a nurse, they can do that from there and do a 2 year course instead of doing a 3 year degree. And straight away they'll be qualified as a nurse. So I've seen situations like that. But the end goal is, you still have to get that degree to be a nurse.
Interesting. And what would be your advice for maybe someone who's currently on the ward and similar to you also wants a 9 to 5 and doesn't want the shift work, but isn't really sure how to go about it or even where to start looking?
I'll first say that, you have to make that conscious decision that you want to make that move.
Yeah.
I've had like loads of people or like loads of other nurses say to me, like, I just want to move, I want to move. But you have to really make that conscious decision within yourself.
Yeah.
Don't do it because people are doing it.
Yeah.
And, secondly, it's do research.
Yeah.
What do I need to do in order to get to where I'm looking at?
Okay.
So do I need to check what job sites I need to check?
Yeah.
Do I need to prepare CV down? Do I need to write any supporting statements? What do I need to do?
Okay.
And then also look at people that can help you. So if you know anybody that's probably senior or probably in other jobs, or, there are forums out there. There are people that you can actually talk to that are out there, So it's making that, effort yourself, without actually having somebody push you. Because at the end of the day, somebody can only help you so far, but it still remains ultimately up to you to, make that move. So that's
okay. That's really good advice. And currently, so with your assessor role, do you have an idea like what the forward look is for that?
Yeah, I've actually started looking and prepping down on like, the next steps, always moving higher. So I've been looking around. I feel like where I'm working now is kind of where I want to continue. Yeah. I'm not looking elsewhere. I'm still looking within the organization. And fortunately for where I'm working now in the CCG or ICB, there are plenty opportunities. So many in different areas. And I'm looking at exactly what do I want to look at next, but obviously more of a higher position. Yeah.
And so what is your idea of success?
My idea of success. My idea of success. I think everybody will normally say, oh, more money, more this. But for me, idea of success, firstly, is happiness. Being happy and content with where you are. That's the first bit. And obviously, making an impact wherever you're going, having to look back and be like, okay, this is where I came from and this is where I am now. That's success. And obviously the money and whatnot. Of course. But
currently, are you looking at any additional professional courses or furthering your education at all?
Funny enough, from somebody that said they do want to study again, I'm actually looking at doing masters.
Oh, really?
And it's not because of probably getting a job or something. I feel like I want to study again. Oh, okay. That's so strange of me saying, but I'm craving to study again. Oh, okay. So I'm looking at doing masters. I just don't know which subject I'm looking at now.
So currently you're just kind of exploring and researching.
Yeah. But I do aim to have a master's.
That's cool. And just wondering, so some of the people that you work with now, do they come from similar backgrounds as you?
Some do, it's a range. Okay. It's a range. Some come from like the hospital side, some come from working in district nursing. But it's a range. It's a range and different specialities, which is good in a way because at least everybody is able to, tap up each other's knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's been really interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I've learned a lot from Vanessa's experience and what she shared so far. Just looking at how initially she thought it was midwifery that she was interested in. And then through talks with her mom and various other things, she realized that she wanted to pursue more the nursing route and then going into adult nursing, to then do some other roles and then finally working on the ward, identifying that she wants to move from the ward and continue to develop her skills, and then finds herself within a discharge role, also picked up more skills and then all kind of tying it into where she is now as a CHC assessor, and also has an idea to forward and progress more on what she's currently doing. It's been really interesting, and I'm sure that you guys will pick out some pointers from that as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been really inspiring.
I enjoyed it.
And do you have any final words to say, or other things that you're working on that you'd like to share with the viewers?
Oh yeah. I also do makeup. Okay. So upcoming makeup artist. So look out. I do have an Instagram page, and it's called V's Lookbook. So that's VEES Lookbook. So yeah, I've been doing that, enjoying that, building on my craft.
Yeah.
And final words. Basically, the world is your starting point, or should I say the sky? The sky is your starting point. And just, we have one life to live, and, we don't want to look back in our life and think, I wish I could have done this. Do anything you want to do, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And yeah, just, enjoy your life, and be happy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vanessa 1.
If you've watched up to this point, thank you. And I hope that you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Make sure that you check out my friend's Instagram page, which is V's Lookbook. The part that I know everybody wants to know about, pay. So Vanessa provided this link to NHS, which supports what she was talking about in terms of the bands. So here you can see that dependent on which band a role falls into will determine how much you earn and are paid. And this also is in accordance of how much service or how long that you've worked within that specific role, which will determine that range. So from band 1, it continues and increases. So once you go and get up to band 5, you can see that the range is almost at the highest at 33,000, but requires 4+ years, and then various roles as well that fall into this. So this goes all the way up until band 9. And with band 9, you can see that a lot of that is the more directorate role and kind of the chief role. And similarly to most roles, dependent on the location. So if you're inside London, then you'll get the London weighting. If you're outside, then the London weighting doesn't correspond with that one. Glassdoor also provides various different rates for the different practices, and you'll see again as well that location plays a part, and once again the amount of experience that they require as well. Most of these are as an employee. I also reviewed what the rate was for contracting. So if you're a continued health assessor as a contractor, and that is from 310 onwards for the roles that were displayed at the time that I looked at this. So there's quite a disparity working as an employee and as a contractor, as there is with most roles. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. This is Karina.